We find more issues with the van.
Transit, you've disgraced yourself.
And tackle them as the race to get Travis ready for all Fords continues. Now, just in case you're new to the channel, Travis is my Mark 7 Transit van, a former hire/plumber's van, that I'm converting into a stealth camper on a budget. This time I'll tackle more rust, do some preventative work, and crack on with the interior. Well, that's the plan anyway. Now, with the interior plywood already removed, it was time to pick up replacement sheets and start rebuilding. First stop, Midmar Timber. With the new 12mm ply collected, I used the old floor and wall sheets as templates, and it was time to break out the jigsaw. And I've got to say, this went surprisingly well. I used Tiger Seal to fill up any old holes on the floor and started lining up the replacement sheets ready to fix in place. Now, some people will make up subfloors and put down insulation. I just fixed these back in place where the old floor was, using metal self-tappers. I made especially sure it was secure near the sliding door. And a quick sweep later, the floor's done. Now, one of my colleagues offered me some spare laminate flooring they had kicking about. It's been a while, but I have put this down before.
Right, I was going to put this bit here, but looking at the end of it, it's a wee bit on the chipped side, so I think I'll put that down there, use another bit here, because otherwise that's just going to annoy me. Shouldn't do, but it will.
Everything was going well. Till I quickly realised there wasn't actually enough to cover the entire surface of the van. Now, I could have waited and got some more, but I had a plan, which we'll come back to later. I tackled the moisture barrier in the van last episode, and it was time to start sticking the insulation to the walls. Being in Scotland, I think this is going to be pretty well needed. To fix it in place, I used quick setting spray adhesive, and to be honest, this step was surprisingly easy. It really doesn't take long for the glue to go tacky, which is what you want. I cut the sheets to fit, sprayed some glue onto the walls, and yeah, with a bit of trimming, it really is that easy. When I was picking up the replacement ply panels, the guy told me to run a batten along the bottom of the wall just to brace the panels in place. The idea being, to cover the full wall, I was going to need 2 sheets of ply, which was overkill. On the driver's side of the van, I don't need to run the ply all the way to the bottom, there can be a little lip, so it's just there to secure it really. So I loaded the new plywood into the van and crossed my fingers and hoped I hadn't ballsed up the template, which I hadn't. Remember, if you want to keep up to date with van progress, hit the subscribe button, make sure your notifications are on and you'll never miss an update. Anyway, a little bit of trimming and the ply wall was fitted. Again, not to jinx things, this is actually going pretty well. With that done, it was time to think about building somewhere to sleep. Now, the sensible thing to do would be to plan this out, but that's not for me. Again, through work, I ended up with a couple of heavy-duty shipping crates. These were perfect. So, I braced them in place with a couple of offcuts, just to make sure they were square. I checked my measurements against the back of the van, not the floor, but the actual metal. And with that all checking out fine, started framing some supports for the void in between the crates. Now I'll come back to the interior again later on. There's a good reason for the van being on the ramps. When I had the other sill patched up, Ali warned me some more welding was going to be needed at some point soon. It seems it's a common issue on these Mark 7s.
Transit, you've disgraced yourself.
So after clearing back the worst of the rust on the sills, turns out Ali was right. We got some fresh metal cut, chopped out the worst of the rust and plated over it. I say we, I had no involvement in this bit. I just began prepping the bodywork, covering it in etch primer. That was my contribution. Along the passenger side of the van, underneath the fuel filler, I was really gentle cleaning up the rust, but the Dremel went straight through anyway. The driver's side wasn't actually as bad as it looked, so there was only one thing for it. Time to get some fresh metal cut. It seems we've been down this road before. Acid Matchet, the guy I bought the van from, he's also got a blue Mark 7 transit bus, which he's just had to put new steps in, so thanks to him for the heads up. Turns out my steps weren't too bad, but on the driver's side it was starting to break apart. So I got the Dremel out, cleaned up the worst of it, and again plated it and broke out the etch primer. Remember earlier on I said I'd do some preventative work in this episode as well? The subframe, the rear axle and the chassis legs have been given as much wax oil as I can throw at them. So with any luck, that's going to keep some rust at bay for at least a couple of days. With the steps patched and primed, they were also given a couple of coats of wax oil. Hopefully this will see out my ownership of the van. All cleaned up, the sides of the van were getting something a bit more heavy duty. Now, I'm not going to lie, this was really enjoyable. Anytime I've ever had to paint bits of cars before, it's just been with a rattle can and it's always turned out horribly. This took me about 20 minutes with an air gun. That's for both sides. And then about 5 minutes for a second coat. It's looking alright, isn't it? ...2025 marks the 60th anniversary of Ford's Transit van. So with that in mind, one of my colleagues has made some stickers up for me. Obviously I'll replace these if I ever get round to painting the rest of the van. But for now, they're a bit of free publicity for all Fords. And the Fordy misfits. Now the plan is to be there with the van finished, fully kitted out, fully painted. Speaking of which...
What I've done, I've kind of cheated a little bit, but with the arches, I've just brushed in some Hammerite for now because she's going to get another coat. Hang on, there's a helicopter coming in to land. So yeah, I've just kind of Hammerited the arches just to keep the rust at bay. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. So that's taken care of. At least it's not overspray. I will come in with another brush tomorrow and just sort of tidy up that and cut in the edges properly because that will annoy me. And likewise there, I'll probably just sand it back so it's not as visible, but you know, from a distance it's white. It's better than being grey or blue like the Caddy was.
I can only thank the guys in the workshop for letting me use a ramp for a few days and also for taking care of some of the repairs that I can't do. They got the sills plated up, the doorstep was taken care of. They've also done my front bearings and front brakes. If you've got repairs needing done to your car or maybe your MOT's due, give these guys a shout, you'll be well looked after. Thanks, Darren.
So yeah, excuse the mess, but basically on my week off, I've been at work tackling all sorts of problems with the van. It's weird. I know it's my van, but somehow it looks a bit different. There's my headlights, by the way. Let me show you why they're off. That's always been quite rusty and quite annoying, so it's far from perfect, but I've given that a lick of Hammerite. I've done the same to that side as well. I need to do that. I'll do that tomorrow when I come back with more brushes. But weirdly, I remember to do that side. Go figure. So, since the last update, she's had quite a bit of paint.
While that was all drying, I got busy finishing up what I'd started inside the van. So I'm drilling pilot holes ready to secure the bed frame. Again, making this up as I go along, so bear with me, but I think this turned out okay. Though it did need a little bit of trimming just to sit flush.
Now inside, it's coming. It's definitely coming along.
One of the vans in the yard had a curtain rail, so I got that, and then started building the top of the bed. So what we'll do, I need to come down 5mm. Let's go 2.5 there. Not sure if it's actually called the top, but it's the bit where the mattress would sit. Another donation from another colleague. This was a bed frame that I just had to trim the length on, so it would fit the interior of the van. Not sure what that'll mean when it comes to finding a mattress, but we'll find out soon enough. And yeah, so far so good. Now remember I ripped out the flooring earlier? What I eventually decided was to just do a square beside the loading door, so from the bulkhead to the start of the bed. There are plenty of online guides and tutorials, and honestly, laminate flooring's the kind of thing that anyone can try. I didn't have one of those blocks for persuading the boards into place, so I improvised. As long as you're gentle, this will work out fine.
Now for this corner here, I was kind of wondering what I was going to do. I've got the shaper thing, so if this is anywhere near right. Yeah, that's that there. So I think, yeah, makes sense. I failed my standard techie, so let's see if that works into there. Wish me luck.
Can maybe tell I'm chuffed with myself here.
Yeah, I might have got a bit excited there, but who cares? Bed's built and the floor's down, and it looks good.
I bought some edging strips from B&Q just to keep the laminate from lifting by the side door, and to tidy up the bed base as well. You know, I'm actually really proud of myself here. This is mostly stuff outside my comfort zone, but it's starting to come together, and it looks alright as well. And you know what? I've got a funny feeling it won't be long till I'm out doing my first overnighter in the van.